The United States has suspended its travel ban once again, and this time the list is longer, broader, and more politically charged. On December 16, President Donald Trump signed a new proclamation that adds more countries to a full travel ban, blocking their citizens from entering the United States. The White House says the move is about national security, but critics say it marks another sharp escalation in Trump's hardline immigration agenda. So let's break down what's changed and who is affected. First, what exactly did Trump announce? Under the new order, citizens from 7 additional countries will now face a full ban from entering the US. These countries are Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, South Sudan, Syria, as well as people traveling on Palestinian Authority-issued passports or travel documents. The ban applies to both immigrants and non-immigrants, meaning tourists, students, business travelers, and people seeking permanent residency are all affected. And Laos and Sierra Leone, which were previously under partial restrictions, have now been moved to the full ban list. This expanded ban will come into effect on January 1st with no end date announced. Now, to understand the scale of this decision, it helps to see it in context. Back in June, Trump had already imposed a travel ban on 12 countries including Afghanistan, Iran, Somalia, Sudan, Yemen, Haiti, and Libya. Several others were placed under partial restrictions, but the December 16 decisions builds directly on that earlier move, pushing the total number of countries facing some form of US entry restriction to more than 40. So what's the difference between a full ban and a partial one? A full ban means most people from those countries cannot enter the US at all, whether for tourism, study, work, or immigration. These are limited exemptions such as US green card holders, dual nationals, immediate family members of US citizens, certain refugees, and a few special visa categories, but for most people, entry is blocked. A partial ban is more selective. Some visas like certain work or diplomatic visas may still be allowed, but immigrant visas and many temporary visas are restricted. The White House says the countries on the full ban list suffer from severe deficiencies in passport issuance, screening systems, and information sharing, making it difficult for the US to properly vet travelers. That brings us to Syria, one of the most controversial additions. The administration says Syria lacks a functioning central authority to issue reliable civil documents after years of war and points to high visa overstay rates as justification. This decision comes despite Trump having publicly backed Syria's new leader, Ahmed al-Shara, after talks in November and promising to help stabilize the country.
I liked him. I get along with him, the new president of Syria. And we'll do everything we can to make Syria successful because that's part of the Middle East. We have peace now in the Middle East, first time that anyone can remember that ever happening. And we want to see Syria be successful along with the rest of the Middle East. So I have confidence that he'll be able to do the job, absolutely.
The apparent contradiction has raised eyebrows, especially as the ban was announced just days after Trump vowed very serious retaliation following a deadly attack in Syria that killed 2 US soldiers and a civilian interpreter.
Syria, by the way, was fighting along with us. The new president of Syria is, as they told me, and I'm not surprised, he's devastated by what happened. This was an ISIS attack on us and Syria. And again, we mourn the loss and we pray for them and their parents and their loved ones. Very, very sad.
Mr. President, will the U.S. retaliate against ISIS?
Yeah, we will.
And will the U.S. forces attack again?
You're going to be seen.
The U.S. still
We will retaliate. Thank you very much.
More broadly, this expansion comes amid a renewed focus on immigration enforcement inside the US. Since returning to office, Trump has stepped up deportations, limited asylum access at the US-Mexico border, and deployed federal agents to major cities. The travel ban expansion follows last month's shooting in Washington, D.C., in which 2 National Guard members were killed. Investigators say the suspect was an Afghan national who entered the US through a resettlement program in 2021, an incident Trump has repeatedly cited as evidence of failed vetting. In fact, days after that shooting, Trump said he wanted to permanently pause migration from what he called third world countries, though he did not define the term or name specific nations. So how strong is the security argument behind the ban? The administration points to visa overstay rates, weak civil registries, terrorism risks, and poor cooperation with US deportations. Critics, however, argue that many countries with higher overstay numbers are not banned and that US visa screening already involves interviews, biometric checks, and intelligence vetting. They say the policy is overbroad and appears driven as much as politics as by evidence. There are also humanitarian consequences. Students from affected countries are likely to see visa approvals collapse. Families may be separated for years, and people fleeing conflict zones like Syria and South Sudan will find it even harder to seek safety. Previous bans led to student applications dropping by more than half from some countries, a trend experts expect to repeat. Legally, the ban is on solid ground. The Supreme Court upheld Trump's first-term travel ban in 2018, giving the president wide authority over immigration when national security is invoked. That precedent makes it difficult for legal challenges to succeed, even though lawsuits are expected. So what does this all mean going forward? This suspended travel ban reinforces a clear message from the Trump administration that immigration policy will be driven by restriction, deterrence, and executive control. It also sets a precedent for expanding or modifying bans every few months, keeping entire regions under constant uncertainty. For now, the policy is set. From January 1, millions of people across Africa, the Middle East, and Asia will face new barriers to entering the United States, and the global impact of that decision is only just beginning to be felt. For more such explainers, subscribe to DawnNews English.